Okay, let's hope that this whole thing goes good. Seems to be, I'm hoping that this isn't the resolution it comes out on the big recording, but y'all probably got good reason to wonder. What, pray tell, is a B-17 doing on my Dreadnought video? It is leaving. Now, can I get this to nicely go along, or am I going to be made upset? Can I play some games with this or not really? Probably not. Maybe, maybe not. Trying to get this to kind of grip onto the side here. You know, kind of like some sort of a, I don't know, thing that grips real good. Because I got one of them grippy tripods and I'm just itching to try it out here. And of course, probably breaking some cardinal rule of don't let them in on the editing secrets or something. I have no idea. I'll be honest, I went to school for engineering, not cinematography. Damn it, Jim, I'm an engineer, not a filmmaker. You know what, we're gonna go a slightly different angle here. So yeah, this B-17 is just leaving, unfortunately. Again, because, you know, things went crazy, and I thought, well, I might have to do a bit of videoing without the benefit of being able to put videos up for a while. So, now I'm going to move this lovely bit of kit and all the fun goodies I got for it aside. There we go. There we are. There's that. You be good now. And now we're going to get back to working on the Dreadnought. So, let's see here. I've got a nice tripod here that I can set up my, you know, fields of view and whatnot with. Not quite sure how I'm going to make it look nice without... This thing's still filming, please. Yay. Now I can look right into the camera and look like a total dunce. So, yeah. Dreadnought Part 8. With hopefully a better quality camera, although with what I saw the last time, I'll be honest, I'm optimistic, but I'm having my doubts. It looked a lot fuzzier to me than it should have been. Maybe it'll be great, maybe it won't. Hoping it'll be great. If it won't, I'm just gonna, you know, frown a lot, I guess. Because apparently it doesn't do the whole, all 30 frames per second like I'd like, so there might be some bits of encoding annoyance. But that's neither here nor there. Alright, I have the wife's camera and her blessing to use it, so I'm going to go ahead and get the Dreadnought part of this video started. And boom, that thing with my hand there was just making sure this was focusing in properly. Looks like it did the job reasonably well. So here you see me throwing on my new gloves, and it's moving that bomber a little more out of the way while I get the plan just to see what's what before I go ahead and start mixing up the, or rather readying my primer, since I've already mixed it half and half ahead of time. So there I am using the airbrush to throw on a coat of primer. And after I throw that on the first of the next decks, I'll throw it on another one as well. Maybe I should have done them all, I'm thinking now, just because it would have saved some effort and time and maybe been a bit more easy to do. But again, you live, you learn. So there I am. I'm using a set of tweezers just to hold in one place, try to minimize the amounts of disturbances to the paint job. And now here I am cleaning this out, so I'm just going to spring it off to the side, safely away from everything, and yep, you know, bubbling it back into itself, all that stuff, before reassembling it, taking off the gloves, and probably thinking something. Oh yeah, I guess, and there I go. Now I'm getting the next sets of paint. So what I did is I ended up painting this. I did this for these first in the in that primer, and then I painted them a dark silver color. It was a lot darker than the previous silver color of the first decks, but it's kind of appropriate, I guess, since, it's, got coal and stuff running through these things and whatnot. So there I am making the paint. The other thing you saw me doing was doing a bit of scraping through the threads of these bottles. That is the big thing that I hate about the about Tamiya paints so far is the jars, like the threads get kind of gummed up. If you're careful, I'm sure you'll be fine. And I've always been able to open the Tamiya bottle, so it's not like that big of a deal. And I found you get a really good finish out of them, so it's a little nitpicky thing, but there's a reason not to like the Tamiya bottle. A great thing about Tamiya though is, at least in my experience, they are compatible with Mr. Hobby thinner, so that's a nice thing. It lets me use that, thinner that has the leveling thinner. My thinking there being that it'll help the finish be more even and just superior overall as I try to spray everything the dark silver color. All right, so we're almost done with this section of high-speed time-lapse. And, yep, there we go, just merrily spraying away. And there I am cleaning everything else, and you are about to see me going back to real time. All right. So far, just a little test of the new camera and how it's set up here. Now I'm going to turn that thing off. I don't think I'll need that compressor for a while. But yeah, so I figured I'd do that little test by hanging it up from one of the little rafter things. As it turns out, that's not too bad of a way to do it. I'll probably do a little bit of editing just to get ahead. But other than that, by having that whole thing set up nicely, I can begin to figure out the new camera. And I've already found one quirk I'm not so happy with, is that it'll only take like 29-minute, 58, 59-second clips. So I'm going to have to watch my time, like with some kind of egg timer or something, just to say, hey, turn the camera back on. Which, okay. I guess I could always look for another camera, but, this'll work. I've made do with my cell phone. I can make do with this thing. Okay, alright, let's, so I made a really dark, paint job on this. Dark silver kind of thing. And probably serve as a good base coat for a lighter silver later. Let me paint over various bits here and there to kind of get everything nicely set up, and hopefully that works good, because if it doesn't, I'm going to be sad. Oh well. Alright. Let's go ahead then and see what I can do to make this whole thing nice and pretty and reasonably accurate. Also the same over here. I'll give you a quick look now. Alrighty. Good deal. Good deal. Alright. Let's keep building. And build we shall. So here I have again my pieces of the ship, and I'm going to be doing that chromate kind of paint again for these the interior bits of this. Worthy of note is that this chromate I had to make with a darker and lighter color. It was like 2 parts darker and 1 part lighter. One of them was Ogren camo, and the other, and this was the Citadel paints, by the way, so hence the weird names. And the other one, I'm not sure what the other one was. If it was like camouflage green or something, I don't know. But I'm definitely going to go looking for a proper chromate green in my earliest convenience. I'm editing this now, actually on technically a Saturday morning, and lockdown is starting to, open up a little in my state, so I'm going to show up in my local hobby shop with a mask and see if I can't get some nice paint for that purpose. Now, I've used this shop before and it was nice, so I'm confident I'll be able to. It's just that they're my new local hobby shop rather than my old one, which is now further away. Oh, the times, they are a-changing. But moving right along, so as you can see, I'm adding several layers of this paint here. And that's just because I did my paints pretty substantially. So in order to get good coverage, sometimes I've got to layer paints up a bit and really add them on. I guess that's a really good thing about the Citadel acrylics when they dry, is that water does not hurt them. That's a really good thing to note. That's really helpful when you're trying to layer on the paints. Otherwise, you could really have a bad time. Oh, so that little shift you saw with the camera, and you'll probably see another one in about a second or two. Yeah, that is the most irritating thing to me about this new camera so far, is that it only records like, I don't know, 20, not even 20-minute segments at the proper settings that I like to use so far. So yeah, I've got to be really attentive and listen for the beep of the camera, otherwise I'm going to be having a bad time. And sometimes it doesn't even do that. It just goes beep, yeah, I'm turning off. It's like, what, dude, really? I may or may not look for another camera. This may not be the camera for me, or at least for what I'm trying to do. That'd be fitting. You know, the wife got herself a Christmas present. It was an expensive camera, and then I turn around and buy a ridiculously pricey one. That'd almost be karma, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But, yep, here I am painting other rooms again. So those side rooms that I painted up towards those little, I guess, fork ends, you can call them. I guess for some kind of store space. They weren't coal bunkers, which, yeah, that's life. Here I am painting again the next floor up, again with the do-it-yourself chromate. And, yeah, I've got to add layers and layers. Because at first, as you see, you know, the bottom layer shows up. And there we go with the the lighter bottle of green again, just and a bigger brush, trying to get everything in there and all nice and even as I can get. Got to do the walls too. I also will later, you'll see it, there's some of these little spaces that are actually coaling trunks or escape trunks. I do the inside of them thinking, you know, maybe people are meant to be there rather than actual coal. So it's like, you know, why mess around, you know? That's neither here nor there. So there I go. I once again am just quite merrily looking in the book now to make sure I've got everything right before I paint things, or paint them wrong. This is just making sure that, as I said before, when I paint the, you know, escape trunks or coaling trunks or whatever, that I'm painting the right things. Because if I don't, well, I don't want to be inaccurate if I can avoid it. I'm not sure if I paint the inside of the fan chambers or not. Maybe I should, if I haven't yet. That's a thing for later on, if I haven't already. Here I am again looking at the book, probably trying to see what's going to be a storage bunker, what's not. So, other than that, seems like I'm just cleaning up a brush at this point. Ah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, it was like one of those light greens to two of those dark greens that you saw is my chromate color so far. And I'm adding another coat. That's what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, lots and lots of coats of paint. You know, you gotta thin your. They say you gotta thin your paints. I may have taken that a little far, but yeah, no, you really got. You want to thin your paints as much as you can, you know, conveniently get away with. I'd say, not like, oh my god, like 100 layers to get anything opaque, but I'm sure you get the point. You want to thin the paint to get the best results. Now I'm scraping off the super glue applicator. I'm probably going to apply, you know, some more super glue to one of these, you know, guys. Yet that officer right there is going to get more super glue. So, now I think it was Joe that asked, you know, mentioned that, you know, anything under a 1/35th scale brings in the nanites. Okay, I think that's my wife tramping around in the background to be here. But, yep. So here's me now. Again, I don't know how I'm doing this other than a lot of luck and patience. Folding up some photo etch bits to make the, I think these are going to be the, I think these might end up being the shell bins, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, looks like the shell bins. Ah, there we go. So, yeah, this is the lower floor. That's where the shell bins are going to go. I put it in, then I paint it. That or this is the powder store and such. I'm almost at a point where I'll have to, you know, cut this little segment out, but we may not be done just yet. So here I am adding some, looks like these are actually the powder boxes, not the shell bins. So the powder boxes I am now painting over white because that's what I thought they looked like when I got a picture of what I thought showed the powder bins, and those were white, so there I am. And I'm just, again, this is one of my remaining homemade photo etch frets, and I'm going to have to think long and hard of how I want to do them in the future, just because of new place and, you know, the new place and the new shop. So it might be time to get better facilities for that. So, all right, there I am again. As usual, I use my big fat pliers to fold and my little needle noses to place for those photo etch things. I may in the future get the folder, I don't know. All right, here's some slow motion. All right, so, a little more dialogue after all that paintwork. So, not too much done so far. Just got some of the, you know, basic areas of these decks that are where people might go in green, and the rest of them in, you know, that unfinished color. A little darker than the ones below, I gotta say, but a bit more what I was aiming for on the previous things. So, another thing I've noticed so far while kind of editing this thing together and all that is it seems to me like, even though this is one of the nice high grade or the entry grade but actually professional cameras, that this thing ought to, I don't know, give me clearer pictures. It seems not to for some reason. Not sure why that is. Oh well. But that's neither here nor there, because it is a lot easier to make, you know, model videos and everything else when I can listen to, well, whatever it is I listen to on this thing and watch, and have this thing watch me. That and that adjustable tripod is really a godsend. So with that, let me see. I gave a close view like that or something the last time. What to do? You know what? There's only one thing really to do, and that is just to mat this up in a corner somewhere so it'll see. And then edit in, you know, so it looks good towards, you know, whatever. Alright. That'll go right up out here. Wait. And not only does the camera suddenly looking like it's upright because I have video editing software, you also get a whole view of the whole shop, so you can see me cutting out the little pieces this time. So I'm not sure if I'm putting in the shell bins this time around or if I'm putting in the little powder things. I'm just trying to think of which ones I put in. I might have put it. Oh, okay. Now I remember. I put it in the shell bins earlier. That first. Okay. Now I remember. Now my head is out of somewhere uncomfortable. So there I am. I am now cutting some other little pieces to fold up. A lot of this is going to be me folding up some bits. And you will see what I folded into and painted up as in a short while. I'll try to maintain you in suspense. But going right along, having a nice little sip of the good stuff, while just, again, painting little bits here and there to get that... Oh, there we go. I dropped one. I dropped one of the powder boxes. And interestingly enough, another perk of the phone is that I found it because it had a light. Yay. And there I am manipulating all that in place. This time what I do to glue it in place is I poke it a little bit with that super glue tool. I'm getting better at it, I think. I'm getting better at it. And again, scratching my leg because it's been itchy for, well, a while now. It's getting, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. So here I am. So I found some super glue. Or sorry, not super glue, Elmer's glue. This is good because that's how I make it look like I'm making, you know, coal. Now that big jump you saw, well, you know that bemoaning of why does this camera, only show so long of footage? Well, that's a big part of that. So you didn't see me put some of the things of fake coal down. Now you see me instead folding up a lot of little people to put in place, if not the last of the little boxes for the powder boxes. So those little people, well, you're going to see it in about 2 minutes. I'm going to keep you in suspense, but as before, a lot of this is frustration with the trying to get some glue to stay on the feet of the little people, and then trying not to lose the little people as you bend them with the flat nose, I call them flat nose tweezers. I am fully aware that there is a nicely done, professionally thing to do this, and each time I bend these, I get a little more towards thinking it might be worth the money to just, go and buy one of those. And then, of course, my inner cheapskate goes, never. But that's besides the point. So there I am looking things over, making sure it looks like things align reasonably well, and then grabbing a couple of paints, as well as fiddling with the phone, as well as making sure that this thing actually, is still filming, and it is. And here I am painting, after bending up little guys, which you can't see from this range, I am painting them blue because these are the rank and file people, and they're going to be throwing in somebody special. Oh boy, I spoiled it. I look for something on the sprue, and then I start painting him to some extent. And I think, and here's the part, where I start showing you a bit more up close and personal. So you'll see me with a very, very fine brush. This is for putting the eyes on miniatures. So I cut my teeth on 40K for this level of painting, and the eyes are definitely a thing on those models in my opinion, so I try my best to add eyes. And in this case, I've added a nicely detailed guy in a suit who is, after a bit of fiddling with the tweezers and a couple guys falling off and a couple more guys falling off and then me gluing everybody back together and back on there, well, Mr. Suit is going to take a little trip to someplace a little warmer than the North Atlantic. And those kindly young gentlemen are going to help him because they're just such big-hearted individuals like that, and figured Mr. Suit deserves a vacation. Well, someone's not very popular now, is he? That was what I was going to throw in as sort of an Easter egg on this one. I mean, come on, why not? It's a big enough thing. It's ornate enough. It really does qualify as a diorama, doesn't it? I mean, I'm making scenery at 1/700th scale. I guess it does and doesn't qualify. I don't know, but on the other side, I think I've pretty well wrapped up for this episode. So, did a little bit on the increasing decks, as you can see. Added some gold, and I also added. I added the key detail, didn't I? Yeah, someone's not very popular. We're not going to say who it is, but someone's not very popular. Alrighty, so guess next time I'll be furthering this along, and alright, peace out.